Fingers in Pies podcast, brought to you by Meron Freight UK.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Fingers in Pies podcast with Meron Freight UK. How you doing, Tommy?
All good, all good.
Our guest today, Will Orton. How are you, Will?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very, very polite of you. So I don't think
That's the
That was like a
politest
trained
yeah.
answer.
intro ever.
That's
That.
right, thanks. Yeah. Did your mum say, make sure you say
Make
thanks for having
sure
me?
you say thank you.
Yeah, make sure you say thanks. Yeah, it is very, very polite. And you are welcome. Thank you for being our guest. Another racing driver extraordinaire. We're going to find out a lot more about you. But before we find out about racing driving and careers and all that sort of stuff, we've got some pies on the table. We're going to go straight in with the pies.
Starting this.
Yeah,
Starting with the pie.
we always end with the pies.
Very true.
And I feel like people like Fingers in Pies, they want to know what pies we like.
Yeah.
Or at least I do. Now, don't worry about these. These aren't just for show. You can eat these, Will. However, you just made mention that you're not a pie man.
I'm not a pie man. Maybe like a hot apple pie.
A hot apple pie, okay.
That could do. But
Pie or crumble?
crumble. Always crumble.
I'm glad you said hot and not warm apple pie. If you a pie, not a crumble man. Crumble's not a pie. Will
Crumble's not a pie, but crumble is.
crumble's the one.
With, what would you have with it? Custard? Ice cream?
Ice cream.
Yes.
Get on board with that.
I'd like the ice cream.
You know what? You're so wrong. You're so wrong,
that's-
guys. There's right and you know when it's a matter of opinion. No, your opinion is wrong. It's custard all the way. Isn't it? You're a custard man. Yeah, that's it. Seriously.
No. I just have memories of back in school when you got that like
Oh, the lumpy
lump
custard.
on top of the custard.
Yeah.
Put me off for life. I think.
Yeah.
Darren, is that your favourite bit of the custard?
Yeah. The lumpy skin.
Do you like to chew your custard?
He likes the skin on his custard. Yeah. Bird's custard, wasn't it? Anyway, yeah, sorry, we've digressed. But yeah, I mean, apple pie it's a favourite, isn't it? It's a
Can't go
standard
wrong,
one.
really.
Can't go wrong with it. But okay, you're not a pie man. We have got an array of. We've got Melton Mowbray pork pies. We've got pork and apple, and we've just got standard apple. And I'd like to say they're Mr. Kipling. They're not. They're Lidl.
Probably better than
Probably better.
Could be better.
Cheaper and better.
Lidl if you...
Talking about Lidl and Aldi, I know we will get onto you in a minute, Will. Lidl and Aldi, there's a lot to be said for the lunches in Lidl and Aldi.
The new protein meals there are mega as well.
Yeah,
They're
To try one.
good.
You've got to go to Lidl and Aldi. The value for money. I went M&S the other day. Oh my god, still paying for it. Like literally. I got like a meal deal.
Do you get Klarna?
A meal deal should never go over £7. Like that's not
What was in your meal deal?
No, it was a sandwich, or it was a wrap, a chocolate bar, and a bag of crisps. That is a standard. I didn't even have a drink with it. £7.10. I was like, you what? I can believe it. I had a fiver ready.
It's a bit... I want in change.
And then I had to go with card. In the end, I couldn't believe it.
No, it's... I go over there at lunchtime and get the protein meals from there, and you got loads of selection. I get the lasagna, is mega. 37 grams protein, £2.99, 600 calories, lovely.
£7.10 over at Lidl would do me for a week's dinner.
For the whole week.
100%, 100%. Right, okay.
Anyway,
Let's stop talking about Aldi and Lidl.
If you want to sponsor though, we are available.
Exactly, yeah. There we go, get involved. Be on the side of Will's car. Anyway, Will, let's talk about you a little bit. I mentioned racing driver, but that is a very broad term. We've had a few racing drivers on these podcasts, hence obviously the Meron Motorsport Management connection, the touring car connection. We're surrounded by touring cars here, pictures of them anyway. Tell me what you're doing this year. What are you up to?
Yeah, so I think it will be announced by the time this goes out, but we'll be GT4 European with Racing Spirit of Le Mans. So back in the Aston for another year.
Yeah.
Touring around Europe for 6 weekends.
It's not bad, is it? Not jealous at all.
Oh, my heart bleeds for you. What a pain.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah. So whereabouts do you go?
Yeah, Paul Ricard's in 2 weeks' time. Well, under 2 weeks now. Places like Spa, Nürburgring, Barcelona, Misano, Zandvoort. That's the calendar in a very jumbled order.
Wow.
So
that sounds pretty awesome. And so in terms of, let's go back then and start at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're now, obviously this season, you're off around Europe, driving an Aston Martin around. Sounds amazing. However, how do you get to that point? How do you decide that you just one day jumped in a car and thought this is fun, or was it a little bit more complex than that?
Fairly traditional, to be honest. Karting from 5, actually quit at 9 years old after Bambinos, decided I wanted to be a footballer or a scooter rider or whatever it was at the time.
Brilliant.
Came back, Dad convinced me to just get out, I think just a test day or so, and then kind of got serious from 12, 13, and into cars at 15, quite a mixed bag of car series, and then here we are today.
Yeah. Right.
So,
okay.
but it could have been so different. I could have been a scooter rider.
Could have in the Olympics or something.
Scooter, or there is
In
a
the
scooter
Olympics,
thing in the
yeah.
Olympics,
There
isn't there?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I think so.
I made that up.
No, I think there is.
There was a new thing, wasn't there? They all fly around. And
I think Tiddlywinks is, to be honest.
anything is. So there was a little bit of a time where you fell out of love with it, was it, or not?
Yeah,
Right.
I was just a kid. I
You were a
think
kid,
I wanted
yeah,
to just
9.
be playing football with my mates.
Yeah.
It'd almost be, didn't really want to go karting, and
No.
that was,
That's the thing, isn't it? At that age, like
you're so
you're
unsure.
everywhere as
Yeah.
well, and you do totally different things to what your mates doing on a weekend.
Yeah.
And so I can see why you can fall
Yeah.
out of love with it so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just because you want to be around your mates.
Yeah.
But then actually now, look
No.
at where you. I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
Look
your
what
mates
you're
are all
doing
going
on
around
the
going,
weekend.
can I come?
Yeah, your mates are at Weatherspoons at the weekend, and you're
Yeah.
at Paul Ricard.
Yeah.
So
Smack
I'm
around
just
with
totally.
Aston Martin.
They're probably not. Sorry, Will's mates. You're probably doing so much better in your life than just in the Weatherspoons. But there's nothing wrong with being in the Weatherspoons
Nothing
either.
wrong with that.
Digging myself a hole.
Cheaper than M&S still.
Cheaper than exactly. £7 gets me a burger, a pint, and a dessert. Definitely. Right. Okay. So let's talk about that then. So your dad motorsport nut, is he, or not really? Did he just
loves
take
it,
you
but
karting?
never did it
Never did it?
himself. So
No?
yeah, he had a go-kart, and he'd just do the odd test day, but he always loved it. He's like petrol head. So
Right, okay.
Kind of, yeah, he wanted to try me out in this, and I guess he's kind of living his dream
Yeah.
through me, really.
Nice. Okay, brilliant. So let's talk a little bit about the journey then. So how soon were you going around tracks in the UK? Because it seems to get younger. Each time I'm speaking to someone, they're like 60. Who was I speaking to the other week? It was at the Porsche Media Day. I think he's 16 years old and he can't drive a road car, but he's flying around in a Porsche
I think he's
GT4.
jumped in from the Saxos.
Yeah, something like that. So how young were you when you were flying around the likes of Brands, Stetson, and all that sort of stuff?
Quite literally went flying around Brands at 14, which didn't go so well. But yeah, 14 was first race.
What was that in?
That was in a Saxo.
That was in the Saxos.
Got a nice aerial view of Paddock Hill Bend.
Did you?
From the gravel trap, that was good.
Nice.
And then Fiestas at 15, first full year.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it gets younger all the time, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So what happened in this Saxo? Tell me what happened.
Well, I could make a million excuses, but I end up upside down in the gravel.
Did you?
Quite a spectacular start, really. Start as you mean to go on. So
Is there video footage of this?
no.
Oh.
Well, there is the rear view camera of my car, but that's it.
Oh, okay.
No stream.
Just
unfortunately.
just make sure you mention it to Jordan on your way out because he's
yeah, I
racing at
mentioned it to him
Did
and
you?
realised as I said it that he's literally there this weekend.
I managed to hit the other wall at Paddock Hill.
Nice.
Yeah.
How was that?
I sort of kept it pinned and I was like, hit the bottom where it obviously
Just
jumps
shot
down
right.
and just shot me forward. And I was like, oh, okay. The wet grass. I was like, okay, I'll just wait. Yeah, it was eye-opener that corner for sure.
I'm the only one here to not hit a wall at Brands Hatch.
Still time.
So, yeah, there is still time. Yeah. My racing career is just about to start at the age of 39. Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, that didn't put you off going upside down on the Saxo. You thought, you know what, I'll give this one a miss.
My dad was going around the paddock trying to rent a car for the next day. So I wasn't so keen on that idea, but yeah. And then first test day in the Fiesta was Brands driving into the tracks, raining. I just thought, oh no,
Oh, wow.
all over again. Here we go.
Yeah.
But no, kind of got rid of my fear of Paddock
Yeah.
Hill and probably still getting rid of it now.
Yeah. So does that stay with you as a racing driver, that particular bend? If you've had a big one, you're like, this one's with me now for a few years.
It was with me for a good 2 years or so.
Was
Now
it?
it's just any other corner.
Of course,
But
yeah.
that was a spectacular way to start things off. I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that as well, though, don't you? Like,
Get it.
and
That's
I'm
like
not
the
saying
worst
you need
that
to end
could
up on your
happen,
roof,
was
but
out of the way.
do you know what I mean? Yeah, you need to have that shunt to realise
Okay, it
exactly.
wasn't so bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're strapped in pretty tight to these things, and they are.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a lot around you to help you out.
Yeah.
So you're pretty safe, but
Yeah.
it's never nice ending up on your roof.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it again out of choice.
No, and definitely not an Aston, please.
Yeah,
No. Oh,
really
right.
don't want to do that.
No. Yeah, that's a good point. So then after that, we went. So you've done bits in minis, haven't you? So talk me through where it sort of went from 15-year-old sort of Saxos Fiestas, and then where did you go from there?
JCW's was the year where I think kind of started to be like, right, this is really serious.
Right.
Now. Wasn't even planned.
Oh,
to
really?
be honest, that whole season was super last minute.
Okay.
There was a seat in touring cars which kind of fell through. In hindsight, everything happens for a reason, but that put me in a mini 3 weeks before the first round. It's coming from Ginettas. So yeah, 4 test days and straight in.
So were you going to be in a touring car?
I was going to be in a touring car.
No way. Can you say for who?
Probably shouldn't, but I think the fans might be able to guess.
Who was it with? Who was it with?
They are no longer on the grid.
They're no longer. Ah, okay. I know.
So
They're no longer on the grid at
Guessing
all. They're no
game.
longer a team at all.
Would have run a
Team Hard.
Cooper.
So it was Team Hard.
Yeah.
We can cut that if you need. Yeah, okay. So you're actually
I
going
was
to be in
going to
that.
be. That was always
Was
the
it,
goal.
was it pretty much done? Because I know
Done.
these things. Some people, we know all sorts of people that
Yeah.
done deal. They're in. They're done. and then all of a sudden they're not. Was it that close?
Probably wasn't that close. Like from our side, we wanted to get it announced, start getting some sponsors on board to help out. It was kind of that sort of situation where you'd got the seat in your name. But yeah, everything happens for a reason. And that mini year, I think,
You pushed Dan
yeah, that
all the
was
way, didn't you?
Yeah, it couldn't have really gone better, to be honest. I think the first 2 weekends went way better than they should have. Definitely learnt a lot, put far too much pressure on myself after that. But yeah, that mini year was like most fun I think I've had in a year of racing ever.
Who were you driving with in the mini?
This was hybrid tune.
Ah, right, okay.
So yeah, really good team.
And where did you come in the championship?
Second,
You were
one of the
second?
rookies. So we gave it a good go. After the first 2 rounds, we had quite a good lead. But it was the lead. Dan had some bad luck, and that was kind of the, I guess, leg up I needed while I was still getting used to the car and stuff like that. So then we had a bit of our own, and it was kind of even keel from then. And yeah, just put too much pressure on it. So lessons learned, but second I think wasn't awful.
No,
No,
not at all. Not at
Yeah.
all. So how old were you then? You're like
18.
18 years old. So all roads kind of from minis. Was there pressure to go into touring cars then? Because all roads seems to lead to touring cars.
Well,
it seems.
that was the thinking. It was, right, we're not doing touring cars this year. How do we position ourselves to get on that grid for next year? And it was only when I was at Hybrid Tune, the coach there, Matt George, had raced and made a good career out of racing GT cars for 8 or so years. We kind of spoke it through, and he was kind of involved early in the team I was with last year because that was a new team for the season.
Yep.
And when the opportunity came about, he brought me across to that. But until then, it was touring cars.
Yeah.
And there's definitely still an itch there at some point.
Yeah.
But it's got to be right. And
It's got to be right. Yeah. Yeah, I think, by the sounds of it, obviously we know what's happened with certain teams, etc. We know that there's probably a blessing that you didn't go into touring cars at that point. And there's a reason why you went into minis, and now it's sort of developed into. So with the GT, correct me if I'm wrong, 6 rounds.
Yeah.
So what happens to you as a racing driver then, in and around those 6 rounds? Are you coaching? Are you doing what is it? What is it you do?
Yeah, it's the coaching, mainly in the summer. Like the winter for me is I do all of the business side to Will Auto Motorsport myself.
Yeah.
So it's kind of getting everything, all the pieces of the puzzle kind of put together, and then in the summer it's just coaching and trying to get as much money in to put back into the seat as possible. So whether that's sitting in the passenger seat, private coaching, it's a broad range, but keeps me busy.
Keeps you busy, yeah. And we've spoke about sponsorship a number of times. Is it something you handle yourself?
Yeah, all
So
of
are
it.
you selling yourself essentially?
From like the initial reaching out. Well, I guess until a few months ago, where kind of we signed with Mayron
Yeah.
Motorsport to help out, but I still do everything from the initial reach out to the first meetings, putting together the pitch decks, going to visit them in person. It's quite a long process.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm quite fortunate. I've got like an amazing group of partners on board.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that's quite important moving forward to have the right people around you. And yeah, super lucky with who I've got.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a blessing for a lot of drivers to have these sponsors on board. I've always wondered, like, depending on what you do, obviously you've got touring cars, you've had minis, you've had Fiestas, you've been UK, and now you're travelling around Europe. It's forever moving parts. Right? Yeah, some people,
Always.
you know what you're selling, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
right, I know what I'm selling. I'm selling this bit of advertising in this sort of a medium. You're all of a sudden around Europe. I mean, how does that change your pitching and your way of like, oh, guys, I'm going around Europe now. Can you still support me? Is it kind of a hard thing?
You have to adapt to it. And this year I basically thought, right, what's the strengths of the championship? It goes to 6 fantastic tracks. The weekends are huge. Like we go to the Spa for the 24. That's got 100,000 spectators. So it's about selling the experience for this year rather than X amount of people are going to see the logo on the bonnet or whatever. That's important, yes, and there are a big audience at the tracks, but definitely focused on the experience side and basically making a big holiday out of these really cool weekends.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean it's
We jumped on the Zoom call and talk about sort of an impression behind you is like the amount of trophies. It's basically this entire room just full of wall-to-wall trophies, which is quite impressive to see. But yeah, no, it's like I said, these them weekends, like you say, and that's where we sort of had the conversation with the Mayron Motorsport side. You know, targeting companies that want a European, aspect to things, or specialise within UK and Europe, which obviously does connect me quite well in the fact of the freight side and people that I know, whether it be it shipping companies, be it whatever. But at the same time, like you say, them race weekends they're not just your Pembrey on a British Truck Championship weekend where which don't get me wrong is actually one hell of a turnout because I was racing there last year. It was pretty impressive. But yeah, you go to the likes of Spa, which is like a full week festival, isn't it? Like, you know, and the ability to be able to be involved and the people that you'll speak to in the paddocks, and it's a no-brainer for companies to be involved in that, you know.
Definitely.
Yes, it has to be a right fit, and you've got to find the right partners to do it. And every partner that you want to bring in, like you say, you've got good partners on board that I think long-term planning, as hard as that is within motorsport, if you have the right partners around you, it puts you in a better place, and it puts you mentally in a better place when you're behind the wheel as well. Because you know that you're going, right, this is a long-term plan, this is my 3-year plan, this is my 5-year plan. Whereas, you know, you can get them short-term deals, which are great and get you over the line, but you're always looking around the corner at, you know, what's coming up, you know. So, yeah, I think it's always trying to, you know, hopefully we can sort of carry on working together and really build that up as well, so we all can get to wherever you want to be it touring cars, be it, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the so where do you want to be? I mean, this sort of saying like 3-year plan, sort of 5-year plan. How old are you now?
20.
20. Oh, Jesus Christ. 20
Greys in this, you know, you can edit stuff. Can you just get rid of all these greys, please?
He's 20. Oh God, that doesn't make me feel old at all. Anyway, right, you're 20 years old now. You're already, you know, driving Aston Martin GT. I mean, amazing stuff. I mean, is it kind of, are you one of these guys that's like, look, I've got a plan in my head of where I want to be, or actually are you thinking that year on year, you know, next year, we know how motorsport works. You could be in a touring car. You could be around the world again. You could be around Europe again. So do you have like a bit of a plan in place between you and your dad and partners and all that sort of stuff, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd asked me, like I say, 3 or 4 years ago, it was touring cars every day of the week.
Yeah.
And I still think it's super cool. I've got friends in touring cars.
Yeah.
But I think now kind of making it to the pinnacle of GT racing would be, I think that'd be super cool. And with a manufacturer like Aston Martin, I think career-wise, that's probably a good move for me. But yeah, it's motorsport. Things change.
Absolutely.
Click of a finger. So
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of have to see what comes up and
Yeah.
when really.
So we've got
Hashtag Red Bull on that. Things
Yeah.
change at the click of a finger.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
in Formula One next week.
Yeah, that's it.
So we've got
Put your name in the hat.
so touring cars has got all of a sudden. We thought we were gonna. It looked like touring cars was going to be a 15 person
Yeah.
grid, but it's gone.
Grid this year is mega.
It's gone to about 25 cars, I think,
Yeah.
at the moment, and probably
Which is what it needed, which is
Yeah,
great.
Absolutely, probably a couple of more. Probably will
Some names
will
coming
sneak in
back.
there. Yeah, so Max, obviously being one of them in the touring cars, went from mini to touring cars. You've got lots of people sort of taking that route. We saw obviously Dan in a touring car last year. So in terms of like the difference, if you're going to talk about a difference, if someone's telling you like why would you go that sort of GT route and ride touring cars, tell me the sort of different things that you look at.
Touring car, I think the big sell as a driver is the profile.
Yeah.
Like it's all about the driver. The fans will go to the track to see Ash Sutton win, or they support Jake Hill or Tingram.
Yeah.
They've got their driver. I think with GT, a lot of it, and a lot of the fans, they see a poster with a nice Lamborghini on, they see a nice Mercedes. So I think the driver profile of touring cars is huge.
Yeah.
And that's the key attraction as a driver.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get more coaching work, more people in the paddock are going to know who you
Yeah.
are. With the GT stuff, it's the fact the manufacturers are involved, right? So there's all the tyre testing, there's the actually getting paid to race either by a manufacturer or by an amateur driver. So as a career, it probably seems, it's never stable, but you know, once you've got your foot in the door and you've proven yourself, that seems like a strong career, whereas the touring cars feels massive while you're in it. It's just staying in it, I think, is the
Kind of like
difficulty.
that's kind of like an investment, isn't it? Because you're
Yeah.
investing in the ability to get your profile out
Yeah.
there for then later down the line.
Yeah.
And obviously racing isn't something that you do until you're 75. I mean, you do, but not in touring cars, for example. So, you know, you can go race historics and all these different things and still be involved. But
Yeah.
being at the pinnacle of sport, I suppose thinking about it, like you say, you've got Hyundais, you've got Ford Focus, and then you've got Aston Martin, Lamborghinis, McLaren, different things. So I can see why it's a different kind of mentality, isn't it, to what people are actually going to look at. It's an interesting one, that.
It's a different. The way I look at it, I mean, I've never been involved in GTs, but I know a lot of people, obviously from the touring car, who have done both. Everyone, you know, a lot of the guys obviously have got options to do both. A lot of guys do. I think Tom's done bits, and Jake, and all. You know, they've all done it. It is that, like you say, once you're the established touring car driver, there's obviously a career in it for them. We know that, but starting in the touring car driver, like you say, year on year, making sure you're a touring car, an established touring car driver of 5-6 years is really, really difficult.
Really tricky.
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to do, especially for someone of 20, maybe coming out of minis and then going into it and stuff. But then I can absolutely see the attraction of the career element. Hold on, I want to be a racing driver for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And also going around Europe as well. There's definitely that attraction. So I can see the attraction of both, but it must be hard to make that decision, I guess.
I mean, the decision was kind of made for me, and
Right.
the jump to get on the touring car grid budget-wise is just, now it's so huge. The thinking behind the move, which we were looking at for 23, was it gets me on the grid. Okay, let's use that. Let's start selling to sponsors. Let's get my name out there, and use that as a way to then potentially move further up the grid, or stay on it for a longer series of time. But now, I mean, the budget to even get your foot in the door is crazy money. So
the budget to, we're not going to talk exact numbers, but the budget to, I think people will be interested to do like a GT compared to a touring car season, I'm guessing is chalk and cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
half.
It depends whether you're GT3, GT4.
Okay.
But you could do GT3 in a silver car and something like GT World Challenge Endurance, where there's 3 of you in the car at half the cost of a good touring car seat.
Wow.
And you're doing Spa 24 hour, you're doing all these big races.
Right.
Okay, that's a little bit of a deal, but
yeah,
I mean, GT4, it's well under half. It's substantially less.
Yeah.
So as someone, I mean, I didn't, up until the year before last, I didn't have like a massive group, like a big group of partners like we do now. I had a few people helping out, which was obviously really well received. But to make the jump from here to all the way up there to get on the touring car grid in a winter just wasn't, I guess, doable.
You need to bit a bit of luck at the same time, speaking to somebody who wants to put in 200,000 as a title sponsor. That's the key, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's generally a key
timing,
element.
I think.
100%.
And there's no disrespect to that team that we were talking about earlier, and teams that are less established in the touring cars, but there's a lot of chopping and changing that goes on in those teams. It's what can't speak can't lie. We're not having a dig there. It just happens.
Yeah,
People run out of money. We were one. Trade Price Cars Racing, when that started, we were in with AMD. We had Jake Hill and Mark Blundell, but the next year, Bobby and Jiggy, because of the COVID year, I think we ended up with a completely different. We had Ethan Hampson and Paul Rivette finished the season, and it's a completely different driver lineup. I know Bobby had a crash or whatever and struggled. We've had Jack Butel not finish bits and stuff like that. So it's happened. I remember Andy Wilmot being in the car and all that sort of stuff. So that happens at that sort of level. So I can absolutely see, be like, hold on, I can get in the touring car and be on that grid. That doesn't guarantee sponsors. That doesn't guarantee results. No. Also, if you're at the back of the grid as well for a season, but you're in a touring car or you're second in a Mini, have you got more experience from that season in a Mini than you would have in a touring car? I don't know. It's a difficult one.
And I think that's a good point. Like, it's all good, the profile of touring car, but if you feel you're being held back, it soon becomes very not a nice environment. If you feel like you're better than the car you're in, perhaps, and people are seeing you driving around at the back, but in your head, if you were just given the chance in, I don't know, a front-running car, I guess, but each year you're having to raise more money, and if you want to make that step up, okay, we've got to find X amount more. So there's two sides to it.
And mentally it affects you as well. Like you're not going to be enjoying it as much.
No, exactly.
So you've got to enjoy it at the same time. So it's going, right, okay, let's make sure that if we do this, I'm in a good position to be able to do it. So it's fine-tuning everything that balances around, right? Because like you say, you don't want to be in between rounds going, I need to find this, I need to find this, right?
Or knowing you can't damage the car or whatever it is. It's a lot of stress, I think, to make sure. So making sure everything's right, being in a good team would be nice, and knowing that, the car's going to be underneath you to show what you can do, really.
Who's this is totally off subject and put you on the spot. Who's the best driver that you've come across and competed against so far in a championship? Who would you say, like, when you're coming up against them, you're like, cool, to get past them, I've got to put some in, or if they're in my wing mirrors, I'm in trouble?
I mean, I think last year was different because obviously different cars, like, it changes weekend to weekend. You got genuine pro drivers. I think until then, Dan was such a strong opponent in the minis, just with the experience he had in the car, just everything was nailed down to a T. So you knew, if you wanted to even challenge him, the first lap had to be perfect. How you want the tyres has to be perfect, the start has to be perfect, and you're trying to learn that as you go. So it was kind of a frustrating year from my side, because I knew as soon as the race settled down, we could take it to him, but just procedure, everything he had just really well nailed. So I'd say Dan. Dan was
proper experience.
Opponent.
He's funny, Dan, because he doesn't sort of give away much. I mean, he's been in that mini paddock for quite some time, hasn't he? He's won it multiple times and whatever. I know he's not in this year, and then he's going on to
showed what he could do the minute he had a car under him as well, right, in the touring cars. And you saw exactly he has the ability, 100%.
Absolutely. When you're going for, running him close as you did and having that sort of competitive sort of edge, do you speak much out of the car?
Not particularly. We'd speak. I mean, there was always a level of respect. Like, there was never a point where it boiled over. As far as I think a rivalry goes on track, it was very clean. There wasn't any damage at all. There wasn't. So I'd speak to him when I bumped into him. But I don't think you go out of your way to go and find them in the paddock and make the best friends.
Have a chat.
So I think I mean, we had quite a big team around us at Hybrid Tune with three or four cars. But it was very much, we'd focus on doing the job, and if there was a chance for a social after a race, then it was always well received. I think it wasn't,
fair play.
But there was never any animosity or anything like that. It was just a healthy rivalry. I would say. Yeah,
absolutely.
And again, what you've learnt through that year, against being potentially nearer the back of a touring car or something like that, that's helped in everything you've done since as well, right?
I would argue it's probably better for my profile being at the front in the minis than because to jump in JCWs is the same with Maxwell last year. As a rookie to be straight at the front going for a championship, it's quite, it's not an easy thing to do. So that almost, I think it was better for me than driving around breaking down at the back, anything going wrong or just not getting the most out of myself or the car, because potentially it was a step too soon. So I think that was better for my profile. And the things, it's not been the most straightforward route, like say Fiestas, Ginettas, Minis, Aston or GT4. But now what the good part is, when something does come up or a drive comes up, and it's, for example, last year in the Clio at Donington, I found out I was racing it on the Friday of the race weekend. Jumping into different disciplines, it all becomes a lot easier. You understand the fundamentals. It's a front wheel drive car, high power. This is how we need to drive it. So I think for my development, it's been.
How did you find them Clios?
I loved it. I was so good. I was there coaching, and it was a brand new car. Needed shaking down in just one of the sessions on Friday afternoon, and it was like, right, you're racing it tomorrow. So no pressure.
How'd you get on it?
Yeah, pole and then won both races. So it was okay. It wasn't so bad. The championship, I think, as a guest driver, I had to start like 10 seconds off the back of the grid, regardless of qualifying. So started last 10 seconds off the back, and it was good fun. The races
came through and won it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. But that race, just sprint racing is more enjoyable. I think from the driver's point of view, the endurance stuff. There's a lot more just precision. And whereas a sprint, it's like 20 minutes. Everyone goes crazy.
I was going to ask about that. So with the endurance side, are you literally are you running at sort of like 90% every lap just to try and make sure that, like, thinking of the long game, or are you?
Yeah, you've got to keep the tyres obviously in a good window. It's very easy, and there were times last year where perhaps pushed too hard straight out the box, and then you're struggling for the rest of the stint. But especially in like the 2-3 hour races, you've got to think about the car and I mean, the cars are built for 24-hour race. They're built for purpose. But just managing tyres, the brakes, everything like that, especially at a track like Donington. By the end of the race, the pedal is literally like on the floor. So I don't think you're at 100%, but you're not far from it. And it's every lap consistency.
What do we think that Max is going to do in touring cars this year?
Really well. I think. Obviously, the test yesterday was good. I think we'll see when it comes to round one where everyone kind of really is. But I think he's young, hungry for it. And I think he's got all the makings to do a good job.
Do you reckon?
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think he's got the car under him, and any issues that they have don't sort of get in the way. I think he's going to surprise a few people for sure. He's fearless. We saw it in the minis last year. Like, the cars are a lot more expensive. Don't get me wrong, JCW is expensive enough, but the cars aren't cheap, and he's got to. You do have to have that second thought sometimes. He doesn't want to be sort of like after 2 rounds and 6 races having one finish or something. The key's to finish, right? That's not. Because he's got the pace. So it's just about building that craft, because like we said, there's names that have come back into the touring cars this year, the likes of Shedden. If they have in a battle, he knows what he's doing. Flash knows what he's doing, right? So you put them up against each other, it's going to be really interesting racing.
I think the grid this year is in a really good place. To be honest, and it's nice to have
a couple of new faces as well.
Back,
like from different championships.
It's in a better place than we thought it was going to be, isn't it? I mean, everyone, it's well publicised. Everyone's sort of counting the drivers that are going to be in, the drivers, and they or even fans, on the forums know the rumours. It seems,
before,
what I mean? It's mad.
I think before this year, it was like, it's in a bit of trouble. Then it seems from January onwards, it's just been announced.
Like little things like Power Max having to go, and then they came back in. little things like that is great because Power Max have been there for so long.
And they did Mega last year as well.
Yeah, they did such a
Like,
good
so
year.
well.
And even, speaking to Tom, really actually quite sad about the fact that Power Max are going because, you'd think these drivers actually, they're only focused on themselves, but they've been in the sport so long.
Yeah.
So they actually are like, no, like Power Max were a staple name, had Plato a few years ago in there, all that sort of stuff. So it's great to have them back. And then all of a sudden, you've got 25 cars being on it when it was rumoured to be like 15. So it's sad people like Turkington aren't in it. Like, I do think that is, you'd like to see, because while you want the new faces, definitely want a couple of the, you want a 4-time champion there.
Yeah,
you
especially
do.
with Shedden coming back as well. I like to see a challenge, little battle with them too. And
Some people will go, oh yeah, but it's a changing of the guard and whatever. Yeah, but changing the guard has to actually change over. I'd like to see. Still, you've got Sutton who's won it multiple times. You've got Jake now that's won his first one. Tom's won one. You've got Shedden that's won a few. You've got actual champions, and a 4-time champion like Turkington would have been great to have in there. It's just a shame that he's not there. But like I say, you've got Max coming in. Daryl coming in, Daryl DeLeon into BMW. You've got other people. You've got Rainsford coming in. It's going to be exciting.
There's a lot of unknowns. I think, likes of Max, and Charles, and a couple of others sort of newbies that, but their potential and what they've done in their past is huge potential for it to be actually a mega year.
Yeah,
and there could be a bit of everything. Yeah.
So in terms of your profile, where are you on TV? Will you be streamed? Where is it?
So
your season?
SRO has a YouTube channel where the races will all be live streamed. It's not ITV or Sky, but it's a healthy audience. So all the races will be live on YouTube. Yeah. Which you'll find the links to on my socials.
Perfect.
And Mayor on socials. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's quite an exciting prospect.
So where do you see? We've spoken about media and motorsport for a long time. Where do you see it going? I mean, look, I've made no secret to anyone that watches this or anyone that sees, I'd like to where touring cars, I'd like to see touring cars go to. I think IT4 is cracking. I love ITV4. It's cracking. It's great and it's on there and everything like that. But we absolutely, Drive to Survive has absolutely changed the way casuals see F1. I mean, it's brought an entire new audience. All of a sudden, Americans love F1 now, and it's like, what?
100 Days to Indy, that was it.
Yeah.
That's the Paramount one.
Is that the Paramount one? There's really a NASCAR one that went out. There was a load of stuff. So we'd love to see it on there. So do you see this going that streaming service way, like GT being on Amazon or Disney Plus picking up DAZN, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely room for like the Drive to Survive, like the documentary style videos. I think that would be super cool to see that on something like Netflix. Yeah. The issue is, I think the fans that really love GT racing are so passionate about it, and you kind of have to be to watch a 24-hour race, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the Drive to Survive, where it's breaking everything down and making it kind of accessible and exciting to watch for a young audience. And I think all motorsport should be looking at what they've done. Yeah. Because quite frankly, if you look at Formula One 10 years ago to where it is now, I mean, you watch a race, a lot of the cars are just blank. They've got one sponsor on, and now it's crazy what it's done for the sport since Liberty Media took over. Yeah. So, and as a result of that, like all of the track day experiences, all of these companies are benefiting from the Drive to Survive effect.
Are you seeing that come down? Are you seeing that sort of drip down? Because we were talking about it with some of the touring car guys. Are you seeing that sort of excitement come down into any level of motorsport? Yeah, you sort of see the benefit of it.
Yeah, and you're definitely getting more people just popping down to a racetrack to see what it's all about, because in comparison, going to an F1 weekend is quite expensive. Yeah. So, I think it's nothing but good for the sport, really.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
I think it'd be well received something like a race weekend of yours and how the GT side of things work. Like similar with the, that a mini docu of like actually following you around for a weekend of how it works, because of people won't realise how different it is, in different aspects. I think would go down really well with the GT fan base as well, because they're getting that inside info. an insight that no one else sees. I'm not sure. Is there anyone within sort of the paddock that does something that's...
A few of the teams are clocking onto it. I know Academy did one was Ford last year and British GT and stuff, but I think there's definitely space for it.
Yeah,
so,
there definitely is. Right, let's talk about, I mean, you're not driving around a Ford, you're driving around an Aston Martin.
Yeah.
We've just talked about damage and stuff like that. Does that change? Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, I've seen the GT cars, they're absolute monsters, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them. The way you drive, the way you all drive, is it then completely different? To
the minis.
To a mini, or to a mini, Jesus. To touring cars. Do you look at it and be like, hold on a sec, like, we can't go careering into each other. That's just not going to happen. Obviously, that's where you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But does it change your mentality? Or are you just like, no, I'm buying the wheel of a car. If there's a spot, I'm going for it. If it's risky, I'm going for it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the style of racing is influenced by the formats. After 2 hours, naturally the racing isn't as door to door.
Of course.
You mentioned the cars. Yeah, I mean, we basically done the last few years. No, we can't damage it at all. And thankfully, it's been good. But yeah, it definitely changes how you think.
Yeah.
Compared to like when I was in Ginettas and stuff, and the whole nature of the Ginetta stuff was like, it's really close racing, you're always door banging, all this. Whereas like last year especially, I was driving around like, do not scratch the thing.
Do
no
not touch
damage, no one come near me please. So yeah, that it definitely changes the way you think, especially if budget is tight, because the parts on those cars aren't cheap.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, it definitely changes the way you think.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, it's crazy to think, you know, there's so much that's going in the driver's head, but then also the costs to it all, and the team and everything like that. Obviously, that's why you've got to have the partnerships in order for you to put your foot down and go hell for leather. Because you haven't got those backers and partnerships, I'm guessing it's a very different race that you have to run, and that is a really we have to drive. That's a really tricky front. It gets me every time, because obviously I growing up watching football and playing football and like watching other sports, you know, your athletics and all that sort of stuff. You kind of like, you know, I don't have that to think about.
Oh, it's even when you like go and get the kit of like football, you get a pair of boots, okay, 260 odd quid now, which is crazy, by the way. But it doesn't compare anything to motorsport. No. Do you know what I mean? Like, nothing compares to it. And I think there's a lot of people outside that don't know much about motorsport on the commercial base that don't realise how much it costs.
No, they don't.
You know, to be on the grid, like how much the drivers need to raise, how much the teams actually spend, how much these cars are worth, how much the front end plate is, how much. Do you know what I mean? Like like the little things dragged off the RS and the clubs was like 800 quid for a little bit of carbon that's sort of sitting there, and you go,
it's like surreal, and it makes it quite interesting when, like, for me, when I'm pitching sponsors and stuff, I have to talk about money I've never seen in my life. Like, it's nothing. More money than I've earned all of last year, whenever in my life, and I have to be like, so if you wanted to do that, it's going to be X amount. And just because if I fell off my chair telling them how much it is,
they're going to fall off their chair.
And they ask the question, how much? I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like, it's so much. It's a lot. Just the cost of racing is crazy, and it's showbiz, it's glamour, but there's a cost to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I find it unbelievable. Right, I've got a game for you two. Considering you both like F1,
okay.
I'm going to ask you some questions. Well, I'm going to ask you to see where they land up.
Oh, so, you didn't pre-warn me about this.
That's what I did. Okay, right. So hold on. So,
are we just shouting the answer as quick
well, as let's just see. Okay. More time. Right, okay. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so I'm going to say a driver. I'll do you first, Will. I'm going to say a driver to you, and I'm going to ask if they're in the top 20. I'll ask you if the top 10 or if in the top 5. So let's see where you put this certain person. So Max Verstappen.
1.
Okay. Is Max Verstappen in the top 20 drivers of all time?
Oh, sorry.
F1 drivers of all time.
This year. Top 5.
You're putting him in the top 5 of all time.
I think he's really good.
So is this a voted
So no.
Top
I'm just
20.
asking your opinion. So here we go. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Of
Just
all
give me
time?
yes or no, right?
Oh, okay.
Is Max Verstappen in the top 20 F1 drivers of all time?
Yes.
Is Max Verstappen in the top 10 F1 drivers of all time?
Yes.
Is Max Verstappen in the top 5 F1 drivers of all time?
No.
And you've put him in the top 5?
I'd put him in there.
Wow. Okay. Hold that thought. Lewis Hamilton. Is he in the top 20 F1
Yeah.
drivers of all time? Is he in the top 10?
Yeah.
Is he in the top 5?
No.
Yes.
Lewis Hamilton's in your top 5,
Yeah.
but Max Verstappen's not. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I'm going to add a couple more. Okay. Fernando Alonso. Is Fernando Alonso in the top 20 F1 drivers of all time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he in the top 10?
No.
No.
I'd say like a close.
Where's my camera?
I'm literally thinking like 11th or 12th.
Yeah, I'd put him 11.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sebastian Vettel in the top 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he in the top 10?
No.
Yes. But I reckon he's literally just creeped
Is
in
he,
front of Alonso.
is he in the top 5?
No.
Wow.
See, I think top 20. Like,
Okay.
you're naming these really big names, but this is from our.
Yeah, I'm kind of going era, as you can tell.
Yeah,
I've
see,
got
I'm-
more people to come.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older than Will as
Nicky
well.
Lauda.
Yeah.
Is
Louder.
He,
Sorry.
Lauda. Is it? That was a joke I told. No.
What?
Is Nicky Lauda in the top 20?
Yes.
Is he in the top 10?
Yes.
Is he in the top 5?
No.
I'd agree.
You'd agree with that?
Agree with that.
Wow. Okay. You didn't have Lewis Hamilton in the top 5. Right, okay. Michael Schumacher. I'm not even going to do the 20. Is he in the top 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he in the top 5?
Yes.
Is he in the top 3?
Oh, there's a top 3 now.
Third. It's just okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is your top 3 the same? I wonder. It's not going to be.
No.
I'm going to say your top 3, Tommy, is going to be, in no particular order, Ayrton Senna, Lewis Hamilton, and Michael Schumacher.
Ayrton and Michael, yes. I don't know if Lewis makes top 3.
Who else is in your hanging around your top 3? I've got some names.
Yeah, throw some out.
Prost.
He'd be in the top 10 for me.
Your top 3 then, Will,
Yeah.
I should imagine. Well, Max Verstappen's in his top 5.
Yeah, so he's
Give
going to
it
be
a
in his
clue.
top 3.
Michael Schumacher, you've already
Yeah.
said is 3rd. So I'm going to say you're going to have Ayrton Senna. And I'm going to assume you're going to have Max Verstappen.
Yeah. It's tough.
Is Senna not in the top 3? Is that what you're saying, Will? I'm going to look down the camera here. Is Ayrton Senna not in your top 3 F1 drivers of all time?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't
He is.
easy. I'm trying to think.
It's,
Okay,
it's
it
hard
isn't
'cause
easy.
You
It
put us
isn't
on the
easy.
spot, and there's a lot of drivers out there from back in the day.
There's
that
a lot, yeah.
So you had Senna
point.
and Michael, but you're not sure who your other one is? You had Schumacher and Senna.
Lewis 4th.
So Lauda,
He was in the top 10, not top 5.
Prost. We've got
Top 10.
Jackie Stewart, Mansell, Damon Hill. I mean, I don't know
thinking a
who
little
else
bit
is in your.
older.
Oh,
James
you-
Hunt. You've
Oh,
got
James Hunt in the top.
Jim Clark,
Jim Clark. You've got Brabham. You've got
Fangio,
Banji. Oh, we're going back.
Sterling Moss, Raikkonen.
Do you know what though? The interesting part, obviously, Formula One is what it is now. You know, I'd love to just everyone in their prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
And
so
just
good.
send
Yeah,
them
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And- yeah.
Yeah.
That would be on.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you a question then. Just yes or no answer. is there anyone else on the current grid other than Lewis and Max that make the top 20 F1 drivers of
apart
all
from
time?
Alonso.
I don't know, not Alonso, yeah. No Alonso, no Max, no
20 drivers
Lewis.
of all time.
Of all time. Anyone on the current grid? In the top 20?
Not yet. I think there's potential.
Yeah, definitely potential.
Yeah.
I think my prediction for who's going to win this year is quite interesting.
Who's going to win
go
this
on.
year?
I reckon Piastri's year.
I did too.
Piastri.
I called it. I
I
called
called this last year. I
So
think.
you're ignoring, we're saying no to Lando, no to Max?
Right, so from Lando and Oscar are very close in pace. Oscar just seems to be cool and calm in every situation. And as good as Lando is, and who he might be that little bit quicker, I don't know if he's going to be as consistent as Oscar is. Well, look at what happened
Wow.
in.
I think the McLaren's certainly quicker than the Red Bull. That's why I don't say Max. I think it's a McLaren,
Yeah.
one of the McLaren two this year.
Yeah, I think so.
Win the championship.
I think so.
And I think I agree that Oscar just, okay, he's not been doing it for as long, but he just seems like so
Yeah, calm.
under any situation. Like Azerbaijan last year,
Yeah.
just calm the whole time.
He's the new Kimi, isn't he?
Yeah, so
Nice, new Iceman.
Ice-
He is just like totally, he doesn't seem to be affected by red flags or anything.
I'd argue Lando's probably still a little bit quicker.
Yes,
and it's
yeah,
tiny bit, but I just think over the season when there's pressure on it, everyone's eyes on.
Piastri.
I think my prediction is
Don't get me
wins.
wrong. I'm hoping Lando does prove me wrong.
Yeah, it'd be really good for him to win.
Yeah, 100%.
It'd be.
The
Who's
best,
your top three? Is it?
Oh, well, see, I'm definitely a casual F1
Okay.
fan. So I'm not even going to pretend to back it up with any particular stats. But, I mean, growing up, Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
Bit before, because I was younger, everyone, and obviously watching Senna and the Senna documentary, I mean, it's hard not to absolutely love Senna. So those two. And then, obviously, over the last few years, and considering he was absolutely robbed, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Because I think he'd be
So you got the same top three?
I think he would have broke the
Yeah.
record. And actually, quick one on that. I know people got fans of Max and Lewis, or whatever. Is that not? I don't know if we've ever talked about it. Is it not the most? Is it the most biggest travesty in sport?
Yeah, I mean, it was awful.
Is
was
it not?
awful.
I don't think there's worse. We can talk about Maradona's handball.
Yeah.
Was a big one, right? But it's just a bad refereeing decision.
Yeah.
Like, it's a split second to make that decision. You haven't got VAR or whatever. So Maradona's handball was a big one, right? Knocked England out. But this one, there was a load of time for everyone to make.
And that was the point. They took
There
too
was-
much time.
This
as well.
wasn't a split second
Yeah.
decision. This could have been sorted.
It was-
There was time, and they went, no. This guy's going to go out. Is it not the worst? Is it the worst thing? If that happened to you,
You'd be gutted if you was Lewis. So
But even as Max, you'd be a bit like.
the trouble is with Max, it kind of took away from
Yeah.
it a little bit. And my view on it is, I think what happened that night was wrong, and I think everyone knows that
Yeah.
now. But personally, I don't think they should have been tied going into that. There were like incidents throughout the year where Max lost a
Right.
load of points.
Yeah.
But I think the way it ended was wrong. If that makes sense.
So I see what you mean. So Max would easily be able to, I'm celebrating this, and the team would be like, I'm celebrating this like it's an actual thing, because they're looking at us over the course of, we had this at that, so we had this at that round. A little bit of like touring cars, when
Yeah,
we're part of
everyone
the,
can
when
do
we're
it,
pro Tingram, we're like, oh, well, you remember that happened, you remember that happened, and then obviously Jake will say the same sort of thing, so, and Ash or whatever, but
There's
it was
definitely that factor, yeah.
It was the biggest travesty I've ever seen in sport. I think it was the most unfair.
But at the same time, as big as the travesty was, and I know Drive to Survive, has brought Formula One where it is, I think that had an effect on it as well. I think what happened brought a lot more people into it at the same
I
time.
think that rivalry was almost not the best thing that ever happened in sport, but the rivalry was so good for getting new people in.
It was brilliant.
Okay, it ended. The ending was the ending. We all know what happened, but in terms of getting people into the sport,
But I agree, and also you can always make a film of it. Like I
Yeah.
know Drive to Survive.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that good. That ending is so like you know when people are like, that didn't actually happen, did it? No, it actually happened.
It went inside. That,
Yeah.
the ending, yeah.
Absolutely mental. So, yeah, I agree. It kind of, someone somewhere in the F1 board, up at like the
Ether.
board level, is literally going, this is brilliant. Like, this is
I
brilliant.
went to me and my wife went over to Abu Dhabi for her birthday, and we went and did a track tour and everything. They took us into the like monitoring room with their 55 cameras, which are amazing.
Yeah.
They zoomed in. I've never seen a camera like it. You could pick up a pebble from like 100 yards away. It was mad. How they miss anything, I have no idea, but they seem to. But then they were doing this tour. There's about 50 of us, and just pointed at me and went, "That's where Michael Massey was sitting in 2021." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Amazing.
It was Massey at that point.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. He
So
got the can for it as well. Didn't he?
yeah. So that's where I was sitting. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go. Another question for you then. So if you could build, so you got a 4-car team. Obviously, you're in one of them.
Yeah.
And you got 3 other spots. And
touring car team."
Should we say touring car team? Does it matter?
Yeah, because
does it matter then?
puts them under more pressure.
Okay, touring car team. You got a touring car team. And no allegiances here. Forget that he's got mayor on and we got stuff over it.
No pressure.
Forget that. Forget he's here.
Yeah.
3-car team for this season. You're in the car and you get to choose your 3 teammates. Who you having? You could have your mates and all that sort of stuff. I quite like
in
that.
one of them.
Daryl. Okay.
One of my best mates.
Okay.
And I also think he's going to surprise a few people this year.
Okay.
I said it earlier.
I think I'd have... The issue is, could you have like an Ash and a Tingram in the same team? Do you think?
It's up
Love
to
to
you.
see it.
This is your team, Will.
It's my team.
This is your team. You're the head honcho.
I think Tingram's very good with the fans. Very good amongst the fans. So I'd say Tingram. Not just because you're sat here, I promise. And Bobby Thompson.
Yeah?
Have him
Bobby
back.
Thompson.
He was my
Nice.
first ever coach.
Was he?
And I think he should be on the grid.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
So, and I think
that's a
that
big
way
issue.
there's no... Like I said, could you have an Ash and a Tingram or a Jake and an
Yeah.
Ash in the same team? They've been
Tingram,
competing
Bobby
against each
Thompson.
other for so many years.
Hold on, this could happen. Tingram, Bobby Thompson, Will Orton and Daryl DeLeon. See it happening.
Who would you
I'd-
put?
See it now. Oh, 4-car team and I'm in charge.
Oh.
Obviously I'd have Will Orton.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Jordan Banks.
Straight away. Yeah, Jordan's listening. Right, okay. 4-car team.
But one of them can't be Tingram.
I can't have Tingram.
Can't have Tingram.
Tom.
He's signed for my team.
Okay, some for your team. Fine, you're over there. So let's go. I'm going to go just pure, give my best chance of getting as many points as possible.
Right.
And also it should be fireworks as well, because I'd have them all mic'd up and they'd hate each other. Ash Sutton. Ash, you're in. And also he's an Essex boy, like me, so it works. Jake Hill. Yeah, we hated him last year. We didn't want him to win. Yeah, but he won, so we got to have him.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of points. He's very moany, though, aren't you, Jake? Very moany.
Just cut that bit and then just put
No
it
way.
straight. Send it
I'm
straight
not
to
cutting
him.
it. He's moany. Yeah, cut
Cut it
to
out,
him.
yeah,
He's moany. Oh, he's always moaning. Jake. Ashley's going to hate me for that. I love you, Jake. Jake, Ash. Who else is giving me the best chance of getting loads of points? Can't have Tingram. Who would we have a laugh with as well? I think social media, we've got to have a laugh with people.
You do.
It's just for surely to have a bit of a giggle. We'll bring back Plato. Yeah, we'll bring him back. Just to have a laugh. He would not care, would he? And I just like the fact that he's having a cigarette outside most of the places. Like, you know, I just, yeah, before he goes into a briefing, he's just having a cigarette, and he doesn't look like he still thinks he can beat them all. He said that last year when we had the fans. I said, yeah, Plato, stick him in there for a laugh.
Who's your fourth?
My 4th driver. I'm offending all the people that we've worked with. Aren't I? I've not chosen any of them. Can I have anyone from any... I mean, what's the Lewis Hamilton up to? Oh, no. I mean, he'd get a few fans along. No, I think we'll go with... And I've mentioned him. He gets a lot of points, so we'll go with Colin Turkington.
Yeah.
Just balance it out.
Tasty.
Jake and
That's
Ash and Plato will be all fiery, and Colin would just be super calm, like, stop fighting amongst yourselves. You know what I mean? Just keep
Come
it
on,
on the
kids.
road. Yeah, keep it on the road. Yeah, I mean, what a ridiculous team that is.
Yeah, nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, yeah, and the good thing is as well, I think Plato would absolutely be able to do a few favours on the last round. So if Tingram's getting, I can't believe I'm saying this, because if Tingram's getting a little bit too close, then Plato can just give a little,
Yeah, what Colin did.
just a little nudge. Just a little nudge, that sort of thing. But
big
yeah,
roadblock.
that sort of thing.
What car would you run?
Oh, God. What car? I don't know. I mean,
Do you know your car?
what car? Would you have a rear-wheel? Would you have a BMW? Or front-wheel drive Ford?
Bring back the Infinity, because I've got one on the road.
Yeah, okay.
The
Yeah.
Infinity, that won it at a cancer, didn't it, with Ash?
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
yeah,
What
just-
car would you have? Can we go back to the classic cars?
Yeah, that's it. Mondeo.
Yeah.
Bring
I
up the
think,
Mondeo.
yeah, I think either, maybe the front-wheel drive, the Ford or the Hyundai.
Yeah, or the
Yeah.
Toyota.
Yeah, Toyota, but yeah. I think, yeah, that's, I mean, if you're not allowing me Tingram, that's the team I'd have, because they get the most points, don't they?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
pointsy
yeah,
team.
That's it, it's pretty pointsy.
team.
It's a pointsy team without Tingram. Oh, I feel like I should go wash my mouth out.
Yeah,
thinking
that's it,
Jake
yeah.
Hill and Ash Sutton.
We'll
Oh,
just set you up there.
oh, totally terrible. I hate them guys. I have nothing against them. This season's going to be proper proper nuts. But in terms of your season, then let's talk about your season upcoming. What are your aims? I heard somebody talking to you out there about it. What are your aims? We go win the thing or what?
Let's go try and consistently be at the front and see what happens. Really.
Yeah.
It's a car I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
New tracks.
Yeah.
But with the format, you get a bit more time to learn them. And
Yeah.
I'd like to think we can be right at the front. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't. So yeah, a year at the front, and then it's trying to make the step into GT3.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah, there we go.
So what tracks have you raced out of these?
Spa.
Spa.
That's it.
That's it.
How mega is Eau Rouge?
Oh, it's the first time you're like driving at it because you don't see on the TV.
It's just a big
You're
hill.
literally driving at it. It's like it's a wall. It's like literally, it's so steep, and you're driving down towards it, and you can't see obviously the top until the moment you get there. So
That's
yeah,
mad. It's like a reverse paddock hill.
It's like a reverse paddock hill, exactly that. But yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's commitment. In the GT4, it's not flat, so it's how small is your lift.
How ballsy are you going to be?
Or how big, yeah, it's something else. So yeah, it's crazy, but I loved it.
Yeah,
it was a good track for us last year. So
Nice. Awesome.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. I look forward to seeing your progress as we go. I think that pretty much brings us to an end for episode 15. Thank you very much, Will, for coming
Thank you
on
for having me.
to the podcast. We put you on the spot with F1 drivers. We're definitely going to cut that up. And
Appreciate you coming down, and we'll, as much as it's good luck for obviously the first round, more good luck in the karting event for Merrill Motorsport.
that's
the
it. We've got
big
the
one.
karting event coming up.
That's the big event.
Don't let yourself. I mean, I'll tell you what. One thing I'm going to say. Max Hall said he was going to win the last karting event.
Yeah.
Where was he?
He's got some.
He's got some making up to do.
Yep.
Jesus, he was behind me, and I wasn't even driving. It was terrible. He was-
Yeah, I think the team got quite a good team. So
Yeah.
all set
It's
up.
going to be good fun.
There's some good karters, isn't there? There was some
That's
good
it. Yeah,
karters.
it's not even the names you need to be looking out for. It's the
No.
ones that have been karting recently.
Yeah, that's it. And I think
flying past you.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm planning on being on my daughter's team, not against her.
That's it. Yeah, that's
But
it.
you know,
silly.
if the raising money side and being able to put sort of bit of money down and add a second to the quick boys and girls,
Yeah.
and raise some money, I think it should go down quite well. So,
Yeah,
but no,
It's
have an
good cause.
amazing first round.
Yeah, Indeed.
Season.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to being at a couple of them.
yeah, indeed. I bet you are. Right, okay. Yeah, I'll be somewhere cold in Knock Hill or something while you're. Yeah, no,
always
yeah,
an
you can
invite.
come. Oh, is it Clash? Yeah, Clashes. Yeah. I'll be in Knock Hill. You'll be, I don't know, south of France or whatever it is. I
I'll
don't
just
know.
send you a selfie.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you very much. There it is. That is another episode done for the Fingers in Pies podcast. Go listen to it and subscribe and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be great.